All right, kids, welcome to the second project. I'm looking at a file called piratesofluckyisland.ai. And by the end of this project, I'm going to show you how to use the scribble filter, which is one of the most powerful dynamic effects in all of Illustrator, in order to create a stylistic match across an illustration. Because right now we've got a little bit of a problem in that department. This live trace skull rendering and these stroked clovers in the background just really don't go with each other. So the scribble filter will help us out in that regard. But before I show you that, I want to show you how I created this cloverleaf pattern, once again using the transform effect. Now, I know I'm just absolutely beating on this command, and it's especially interesting given that I don't have any intention of covering most of the dynamic effects that Illustrator offers, because transform is so much better than all of them. It really is that one super practical dynamic effect that you'll be using on a regular basis. And what we're going to do here, I've already showed you how to create a tile pattern back in the advanced portion of the series where you repeat a bunch of objects inside of a rectangle. Well, in this case, what we're doing is repeating an object by not just duplicating it, but we're reflecting the object horizontally and vertically as well. And we're also creating a kind of symmetry here, because really all we've got is a single leaf that's repeated over and over again. But that may not seem all that different than what we just experienced with the snowflake example. After all, the snowflake has 6-point symmetry. A 4-leaf clover has 4-point symmetry. So it's really just a matter of modifying the rotate angle value and the number of copies, right? Well, there's a little more going on here. I'm going to zoom in on this clover. And notice the way that the leaves overlap each other. So the leaves are too big to fit next to each other, so there ends up being an overlap, and every single leaf overlaps its neighbor. So leaf number 1 overlaps 2, which overlaps 3, which overlaps 4, which comes back again and overlaps 1. And that requires a specialized approach. So here's what I'd like you to do if you're working along with me. Go over to the Layers panel and turn off the Clovers layer, and then turn on the New Clovers layer, which contains the base objects. Twirl that layer open, and you'll see 2 objects. There's a leaf group, which is a group of 3 paths, and then there's a single path called stem. We're going to start off with the leaf group, so go ahead and meatball that item, and then go up to the Effect menu, choose Distort and Transform, and choose Transform, where you can press Ctrl-E or Command-E on the Mac if you loaded D keys. Now then, let's get a rough start here. Obviously, I want to reflect the leaf horizontally, so I'm going to turn on the Reflect X option, and I'm going to raise the number of copies to 1, and I'll turn on the Preview checkbox to see what it looks like. That looks terrible because I've selected the wrong reference point, so I'll click in the bottom left point inside of that little matrix there. Now, I've got a big, thick stroke going on, and I can fix that, by the way. That's a 3-point stroke. I just happen to know that. So I can enter 3 points into the horizontal move option like so, and that will create an exact match. That will take care of that problem. But that's not what I want to do, because if I were to work from this transformation right here as a base transformation and then repeat it 3 times in order to create the other clover leaves, I wouldn't get that overlap pattern that I'm looking for. So instead, what I need to do is I'm going to change my angle value to -90, and I get this effect here. So I'm not only flipping, but I'm also rotating that base leaf, and I'm going to get rid of that horizontal nudge value because we're going to reapply that nudge in the next step. All right, so these are the various values you need to apply. 1 copy, Reflect X on, bottom left point in the matrix, and -90 degrees for your rotate value, then click OK. Now we're ready to heap on another transform by going up to the Effect menu, and I could choose one of these first 2 commands, but I want to start from scratch. So I'm going to go down to Distort and Transform and choose Transform again. Illustrator's, of course, going to warn me that this is not the way to edit my last transformation. I'll be applying a new effect, which is exactly what I want. If you feel like you got this one mastered, you can turn on the Don't Show Again checkbox. I, however, find this to be a helpful alert message, so I'm going to leave it up. And I'll go ahead and click on Apply New Effect. And then I'm going to change the angle value to 90 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and turn on that bottom left corner point in the matrix. And I'm going to request a single copy up front and then turn on the Preview checkbox to see what it looks like. And notice how we've got that gap going on once again. That is, we have the double stroke effect. The stroke is too thick. So I'm going to now enter a move value of 3 points like so. Then press the Tab key, and now everything aligns exactly the way it should. And I'll nudge that copies value up to 2 and then 3. And I'm just pressing the up arrow key on the keyboard. And we end up getting this effect here. Looks awesome, and notice every single one of the leaves overlaps its neighbor. Now I'll click OK in order to accept that modification, and I want to apply one more change. I want to rotate the leaf a little bit so it's not strictly speaking up and down. And I also want to reflect it. I actually want the leaves to overlap each other the other way, just because that's what I want. So I'll go up to the Effect menu, choose Distort and Transform, choose Transform yet again, click on the Apply New Effect button, turn on Reflect X, go ahead and change the angle value to 45 degrees. The center point is fine for the origin point of this transformation. Turn on the Preview checkbox to see what it looks like. Looks awesome. And then click OK in order to accept that effect. All right, so that's our base 4-leaf clover. In the next exercise, I'll show you how to turn it into a reflective tile pattern.